we have the beautiful Tiffany Foster here with us. Now, Tiffany is an incredible woman. We're so honoured to have her here and sort of pick apart her brain because she's done a lot of things. Like Tiff is an ex-corporate woman, as you would see in the title. She's had a very, very successful career in marketing and events. So we can relate to Tiff with the event side of things and like the stress of putting something together that's magical and then it's over just like that. Nobody sees the before and the after. But, you know, from going to living life and existing for the weekends and then transitioning in to the business model that Court and I both lead in, that you guys are aware of. And if you're not yet, then listen in. So we're so excited, Tiff. I know you're the co-founder of the Wildly Empowered Collective, which I want you to talk more about as well. So a big welcome to you, babe. We're honoured to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's okay. That's all good. So, Tiff, maybe we'll just start for women chiming in who don't know you yet, maybe who haven't followed you on social media. We urge you to go and follow Tiff's journey. Who is Tiff and how'd you come about? Like, where'd you go from being that amazing, successful woman? And then why'd you transition? I would love to know.
Such a juicy question. I feel like I could talk about this for so long because there's so much, right? Like there's never just one thing that then makes you go like, oh, I'm going to change my entire life. And I've been working so hard for this career and now I'm just going to like say goodbye and go and do something else. So I definitely feel like there was a culmination of things that then supported me to make a decision to change my life. But really 3.5 years ago, which is how long I've now been in this business, I was working in the corporate world. I had an 8.5-year career in marketing and events, like you mentioned. And I actually got to the top 2% performance ranking in the global company that I was working with. So you can only imagine, like, I used to wear that like a badge of honor. And now I'm like, I literally share that for context of like, this is how like freaking dedicated I was to being successful, because that's what I believe that success looked like. Like I always knew that I was here to live a really extraordinary life. And I wasn't just here to like dabble in life. Like I really am like that all in all, like I'm an all in kind of person, right? So I was all in on my career and I was like, I'm going to be super successful and I'm going to have all these things and I'm going to travel and I'm going to have the house and I'm going to do like the investments and like, I'm going to have all this time and like, I'm going to live this amazing life. But I realized after 8.5 years, so it feels like it went really quick, but upon reflection, like 8.5 years is a pretty significant amount of time to actually learn the lesson that wasn't going to be the solution to what I wanted to be able to create. Because the more and more I climbed the corporate ladder and the more successful I became, I wasn't necessarily earning a whole lot more. So I wasn't getting any closer to the financial goal that was going to give me the other things, like being able to buy my dream house and go on all the holidays and again, like have the investments. Like I wasn't actually getting any closer to that. And also I was sacrificing more and more and more every single time I got that little bit closer to what I thought was the goal. So that meant that I was sacrificing so much of my personal time by working like literally from sunrise through till like, I would literally be on site sometimes for events, like from 5 a.m. till like midnight. Wow. And I'd be working like the entire time, like nonstop, like not eating, sacrificing my health, like just literally living on stress and caffeine. And as we know, like the worst thing you can do for your health, right? Like little sleep, like super high stress environment, not eating and living off caffeine, like not a match in any way. And I was also sacrificing so much time with my partner that I felt like he was the person who deserved the best of me. And he was essentially getting the leftovers, because I would go to work and I'd like give all of my energy and all of my passion to my colleagues and to my stakeholders and whoever I was working with. And I'd come home and I'd just literally be like, I just need to just do nothing. So like, I've got nothing left to give you. And naturally that meant that our relationship was starting to deteriorate, and we've been together for 7 years. So we're still together. We've been together, but we made it. It was like, in all honesty, like it was getting really challenging because I was a shell of myself. And, you know, in relationships, the more that you don't show up for each other, the more you actually pull back energetically and physically. And that was definitely something to happen. So I really had to ask myself, like, even though at that point in time, again, I was in that top 2% that I felt like I'd made it and it looked like I'd done all the things and I had what I wanted, I was actually so deeply unfulfilled. And
Yes.
at the end of the day, I was like, this is not what I want for my life. Like, I don't want to continue feeling this way for the next 40 plus years. I don't want to end up like literally losing my relationship with the person who means the absolute world to me for the sake of the career that doesn't even feel good anymore.
No.
So it was just a matter of what can I do differently? Like, this isn't working. What's the solution? Just I was like super solutions focused, and I didn't have a checklist of like what I was looking for, because this was like a whole new world for me. It was basically a foreign language. So I just literally went on a quest of like, what can I do that's different? Like, the only thing that I wanted was to be able to earn on my terms. And not have to show up at a workplace every single day. Like, it wasn't this massive checklist of like, I want this and I want this and I want this. It was just like, I want flexibility. I want to be able to like show up for myself in a way that feels good and not have to show up at a physical workplace. And then this landed in my lap, and this was like the first thing that I looked at. I didn't like go on a super deep rabbit hole. Like, I didn't do like, you know, a buttload of research. Like, I literally was just like, every fiber in my being is saying, yes, this is the thing that you're supposed to do. So I literally just trusted that and I followed that nudge, and here I am 3.5 years later.
Oh my God.
The universe is really looking out for you. This is like, we can relate a lot. It just sort of landed in your lap. And I feel like when these things just land in your lap, you know that it's like divinely guided, and it's like, okay, I'm going to follow this. So can relate a lot to that. It's incredible. Wow.
It's like your prayers were being answered 100%, like just you calling in some sort of solution and staying solution focused. I love how you focused on that, even though when we're going through life's challenges and problems and issues, it's how much are we problem solving those things, or how much are we focusing on being solution focused or solution based, opposed to sitting in our shit. You know, I'll never forget one of our mentors. He walked down on stage, and I was talking about it yesterday, but the thing that hit me was like, he goes, doesn't matter when you evolve, you just get evolved shit. So you got shit now, but you get evolved shit. Like, so it doesn't, you know, the more money or the more impact, the more community that you're creating, and like we all are here and sharing with you guys, it doesn't matter like where you're going or what you're doing, you get more of it anyway. It's like amplified. We talk about that too. So, and following your intuition, babe, that's powerful for a woman. Like, just go in when your body says, when it's like a full body fuck yes, and like you're saying, every fiber, every cell.
I couldn't unsee it. I couldn't forget about it. And like, so many of the women that I now mentor in this space as well have experienced the same thing, where it's just like, once you've seen it, like, you can't get it out of your head. It is so unique, and I always feel like you can't unsee it and you can't unfeel it, because I really believe that this community that we have, like this wider community, it gives you a certain sensation that is so hard to describe. It's like this intangible feeling that it's just like, you'll just know it when you feel it. I can't explain it. I can't describe it. It just is a feeling in your body that you're just like, yes. Like, this is the thing. I've arrived home. This is like where I'm supposed to be. And you'll literally never feel as good as you will when you first discover this. And literally following that, like, there's so many women who, again, like, I'm sure you'll find the same thing, is like, you'll have conversations and it's just like, it's a full body fuck yes. And then they'll go looking for a problem and they'll look for a sign that like, it's not supposed to be the thing. It's like, well, no, the thing was, you were supposed to see this. You got the nudge, and then you went looking for a problem. When you had the solution, right?
My gosh.
I see that play out quite a bit in the conscious or the spiritual community. It's like, oh no, it's not in alignment with me.
I'm like, okay, but why? Like, do you think you came here by a coincidence? Like, no, they don't exist either. So like, why are we even having this conversation?
That feeling, what just came to me was like that feeling of just the ultimate knowing that we're talking about. If that was written in the Bible, it would be let go and let God. That's it. Like, you can't describe it. You can't describe it. You can't like get anyone to visualize it. It's just an experience thing. And then there's no words. It's like, oh my God, I get it now.
And you'll just know, like, when you feel it, you'll just know. And I just urge anyone who's ever like, just even if it's like a 10% of a nudge, like, actually follow it this time. Because I always say, I'm like, if you had the solution, like, if what you were doing was already working, to be able to like insert goal, like whatever it is that you want to be able to achieve, if what you are currently doing was the solution to help you achieve that, you wouldn't be looking for other things. Like you just wouldn't. You would be so focused that you were like, I know what I'm doing. I feel so good. This is the solution. It's all working out. Everything's in alignment, blah, blah, blah. But if you're actively seeking a solution, it means that you don't have the solution. So you actually need to do something different to get a different outcome.
Oh, boom, boom,
Drop,
boom.
mic drop.
Oh,
I'm like taking notes like crazy here. I'm like, this is gold. And I love how certain and, you know, direct you are in this most beautiful, authentic way. It's really incredible to see. And I really do hope those of you watching and listening can just take that 1% from Tiff and be like, okay, how can I embody this in my life? Because what you're saying right now is gold. Like, go back and watch us back 10 times every day and just tune into your body. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love that, Tiff. So then you transitioning out of corporate world and marketing and events and being totally like burnt out, you could describe it as like overworked and relationship, really reflecting back some of those missing pieces, and transitioning into this beautiful world of being online and having more freedom. Like what were some of the things you started to notice when you said yes and jumped all in for yourself? What were the things that really started to transition and change? And then I'd love for you to talk about some of the impact that you've had in the community and the women you're working with now, and just what's happening now. And your vision for the future. Like, I know it just doesn't end here.
Definitely not. There's so many things. But I think as well, like knowing that when you do make the decision to go all in on the solution, which could be this business, and you'll know if it is, like if you actually quiet the noise and like you don't ask for other people's opinions who actually aren't informed and educated to help you in making this decision, if you actually do that, you'll notice within, like, you already have the answer and you already know. And that's why you're even having a conversation with anyone about this business. Like, you will just know. So you can either choose to listen to that, or you can choose to, again, find problems for it to not be the solution. Either way, whatever you're looking for is what you're going to find, right?
Yes.
I think remembering that when you make that decision, like for the most part, 99% of people will either be working full-time, part-time, or maybe like a stay-at-home mum. Like predominantly they're the type of women that I would work with. So knowing that just because you now have chosen the solution, it's also not going to like immediately drop into your lap of like, oh, you're where you want to be immediately. Like I always liken it to building a career. Like it took me 8.5 years to build my career before I left. And I think by the fifth or sixth year was when I reached the top 2%. So if I liken that to this business, I've only been here for 3.5 years and I'm like so much further ahead than what I would be comparatively to 5 years, right? And knowing that, you know, it does take time. It's not going to just like, because you've now chosen the solution, it's not going to like immediately happen overnight. It's just literally like building anything. Like you learn the skill sets, you apply it, you grow your mindset, you grow who you are, you evolve as a human being within your business, and everything like falls into place alongside that. But this business is like this constant evolution. So like even who you were, I feel like even like 3 months ago, I'm like, who was that woman 3 months ago? Like, I think as well, like it's this constant evolution. And also if you're in a space where you are actually, excuse me, investing in yourself. Like if I think back to like 3-4 months ago, I was like deep in like a somatic healing mentorship. And I'm like, I don't even know who I was before that mentorship. Like,
No.
Sometimes we wake up today because Scott and I obviously live together and we're moving away soon and having a bit of a going away thing this weekend event here on the Sunshine Coast. And some days we wake up and we're like, I don't even know who I was yesterday. You look at your camera and you're like, what the heck? That felt like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I know. And if you go back and like read your old content and things, you're like, oh goodness, I have evolved so much. But that's just a testament to like who you get to become on the journey to the top. Like whatever your like top is, whatever your goal is, which I really don't believe there's even a destination for that, because again, we're just constantly like, oh, next thing, oh, next thing, oh, next thing. But whatever the journey is that you're like trying to get to for right now, like there's always going to be a next level, and it's just always focusing on like the next step, which also was what I was doing when I was like actually working to replace my income online. I was always focused on the next step. Like, what did I need to do next? What did I need to do next to get to the goal, which was replacing the income? But life obviously looks so incredibly different. And I always say it's actually pretty simple, but it's simple by choice.
Yeah.
Because before, all I wanted was to be able to, wake up, do the things I desired to do, choose what my day looked like, and actually ask myself what I feel like doing that day. And whether it was like a beach walk or, back then I didn't even have the golden retriever that I have now, but that was a huge part of the plan. And that was a huge part of the goal that my partner and I had always said that we wouldn't get until I left the corporate world, because we didn't feel that it was fair that I was never home. I was literally only home and available on the weekends.
Yes.
So
yeah.
it wouldn't have been fair. So part of the goal was just always to be able to like have the dog, spend every single day by the beach, and just actually live that slow life. Like when you come from like a really hectic, like fast-paced, full-on environment, the last thing you want is to have a really full life.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be able to create a really simple life and actually just, again, be able to like wake up and be like, okay, cool. What do I feel like doing today? And not just operating from a place of habits or programming, like actually asking yourself, like checking in, is this morning, like, am I going to gym, or is it a Pilates day, or am I just going to go for a beach walk, or do I feel like having a coffee now? Like, what do I want to just like get straight into some work? Like, am I feeling really inspired? Like,
yeah.
I'm never encouraged to work from that place, like working from a place of desire versus working from a place of like habit or hustle. So I wanted to be able to create that for myself, which is a huge part of how I live my life now. So I think that would be, apart from like everything else, like there's so many things, but the most like fulfilling and rewarding thing for me personally in my day-to-day life is how I get to spend my time, which is, our most precious resource. And the next thing would be being able to support women to create that for themselves as well.
Yeah, I was just about to say, like, from your entire community and the women that work with you and work alongside you, what are a couple of things that you've noticed as a ripple effect in your community that they've got to get back or gain or replace, or what is the things that you've got feedback on with them? Like, what have you seen their ripple effects be?
Yeah, well, we call ourselves the Wildly Empowered Collective, and it's definitely not just a marketing gimmick. Like, it really is about being a living, breathing embodiment of that message and actually like leading from the front with that. So I really like to think that we empower women to be their most authentic selves. And I know that that sounds like something that is a bit oversaturated, that like everyone's talking about, but there's like talking about it and there's actually being it.
Yes.
Right? And we actually be that in our life every single day in all of the ways. So leading by example and leading from the front to me means like not just saying it, but actually being it in my life and then being an example for other women.
Yes.
So one of the biggest things that we get feedback on is that intangible feeling that like women then have when they're in a community of women who genuinely want to see them win, who have their back no matter what, and are not trying to change them in empowering them.
Yes.
Actually saying, like, asking for the first time, like, if you take away the business, if you take away your life, like if you take away all the things, like who are you at your core? Like, who do you feel like you're here to be? And that's the first time that women are ever really asked that question, because in any working environment, typically, like this was definitely true for me. Always feel like there was like layers. I always liken it to like, I'm a very visual person. I'm like, imagine there's like a cardboard box and there's like layers of just like stuff of like all the things that you would love to be, and all of the like the passions and the habits and the beliefs, and whether it's like something like clothing that you would love to wear or whatever it is, like there's all these like desires laid inside this box. And then the world has a really funny way of like making all those layers so squished and trying to like suppress who you truly are, that you then lose track of, like, you can't even see the layers, like you don't even know what's there anymore. And that's what then translates to us feeling really lost in our lives and not actually knowing who we are.
Yes.
So I like to think that we get to like take the suppression off of those layers, and we get to allow women to actually then see what's already inside of themselves, to then go, oh, what do I want to focus on next? Or like, who do I want to be? Or like, what's really good for me? So that is predominantly like what we focus on in our collective. Like, obviously there's so much strategy and like we've done so many incredible things from a business perspective, but also we support women, I feel, in a very unique way to become who they truly are meant to be in their lives. And the most beautiful feedback that we get is like, this is just so much more than just a business, because they've been able to like find confidence within themselves, or like find their voice, or, you know, go from being somebody who would never share their voice to being somebody who's now like sharing their voice really authentically, or like they're being really direct, or they feel really empowered, or they feel a lot stronger, or whatever it is. Like, just knowing that they've been able to become that because they've been surrounded by the right people.
Yes, yeah, 100%. That's incredible, Tiff. Oh my gosh, just in like full visual mode, because I'm visual as well, really visual. Like, I can just see and just picture myself. I went on a bit of a wild journey with you talking about that.
I'm glad. Like, that was like my lived experience as well. It's like, I literally feel like the corporate world put me in a box, and all of the layers that were already inside of me were just so suppressed that I couldn't see what they were anymore. And then literally the pressure is just like come off the box, and I'm just like, whew, like it's like a reflection internally of like, oh my goodness, like there's all this stuff that I get to be and do and have, and oh my God, like there's so much here for me. So it's been a journey for me as well, for sure.
Wow.
I just want to talk all day long and like just be in your energy. Babe, your energy is really magnetic and super influential. Like, I just, I'm like, okay, Tiff is where you want to be following. You know, go and follow Tiff on Instagram, go and connect with her on Facebook, and this is what we're talking about, is being immersed with really powerful women and in community, and being seen and being heard and being understood, and be really welcome for all that you are, and know that it is safe and that you are honored and it is sacred. And so this is, we could talk so much more about this.
That's more like, there's just so much that I could say on that topic. Like, I really feel like women are just without even really knowing, like, I really believe that women in today's society are like looking for a home. Like, we're all looking for a place to feel like we belong, whether we actually recognize that or not. And you won't know that you need it until you actually find it. And it's like that, coming back to that same like intangible feeling. It's just like, you'll just know when you find it. And then you'll realize that, you know, potentially friendships have been really shallow or surface level, or you know, haven't ever really truly been empowered to be who you're truly meant to be, or who you're actually capable of being, and so many things. Like, you'll just feel it and you'll know it when you do.
100%. Oh, Tiff, I love you so much. Like, this is freaking incredible. I'm definitely watching this back, because it's just so many good takeaways, and gold. I would love for you to leave us with, and like a woman watching this, like really resonating with a lot of things that we've said and spoken about in your story, like what would you say to her? Sometimes it can be like a bit of fear that comes up, or doubt, or like, oh, she can do it, but I can't. Like, what would you leave this conversation with, babe?
Oh, so many things. The first thing that dropped in was like, there's like this analogy of like bungee jumping. So imagine you're like standing on the platform, or like standing on the edge before you're actually about to bungee jump, if anyone's ever done that. If not, just imagine how friggin' scary it would be, right?
100%.
So, comparatively, like, this business is probably not as scary as jumping off the edge of the cliff, but either way, imagine you're like standing on the edge, and there's like always that anticipation around like doing the thing, like, you know, when you're like about to like lean in, you're about to jump. And like, same thing in this business, is like, you're about to lean in, you're about to like jump in and go all in, and every part of you starts to go like, oh, like, oh my God, like, I don't know if I can do this. You're like, pull me back, I don't know. And then you actually end up jumping if you allow yourself to go there, and it's literally euphoric. Like, it is the most incredible feeling, and you'll want to do it again and again and again. Like, that's that same anticipation that people often feel standing on the edge before investing in themselves, because our brain and everyone around us are just trying to keep us safe in the unknown and what might be foreign to them. So if that's what you're feeling and you are standing on the edge, just know that like, you're literally like at the peak of the scariest part. And then when you jump, like, that's when you get to experience the euphoria, and that's when you get to experience the feeling that you're actually seeking. That is the reason that you said you wanted to say yes to this in the first place. So just actually trust yourself in that, because you trusted a rope, you trusted a bungee, you can trust yourself, right? Like, this business is so much more about self-trust than it is about anything else. Like, you go into this trusting yourself above all else, like, you cannot fail.
100%. Oh, boom, boom, boom. I can't wait to like snip us and sit this down and make so many things out of it because there's so much.
And if this resonated with you, make sure you message Tiff or drop it in the comments below and let her know that this resonated and what landed and what came up for you. And if you are curious and you're literally on the edge and you're about to jump, like let us know, like message, reach out to us. We've got your back. We've got a retreat coming up in November, Tiff as well. So we're freaking pumped for this as well. Yeah, it's going to be really fun. So you've got to join the party. You've got to be in it to win it.
Yes. Sue saying inspiration ladies this totally resonates with me, and there's a few other comments. So this is, yeah, very much so, babe. We really appreciate and honor having you on. We would love to have a chat with you again and share your beautiful energy and wisdom and insights and experience with everybody again. So we're so blessed to have you on, Tiff. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
That's all right, babe. All right, lots of love, everyone. You can just go and connect with Tiff, comments like Court said, and we'll speak to you soon.